This is First Overall Podcast, powered by RINGSZN.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the First Overall Podcast, episode 13, lucky number 13. I'm here with just Mike today. Mike, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? It's just us. Yeah, we got rid of Nick. He's just not in the team. No, he's unavailable tonight. He's actually at the Jays game, which is nice. Yeah. So hope he's having a good time with the fam. Yeah, exactly. He's actually going to be meeting with all of the players and getting us all his content. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah, not clickbait.
No, it's not. No, it is clickbait. We're not gonna fool you, fine viewers. No, I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here. It's been a couple weeks since we spoke, and obviously we're in the middle of September right now, and it is the race for the playoffs has been very interesting. Only one team to qualify so far, and they're doing pretty hot over in Atlanta, the Braves. But it's been very interesting. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I mean, it was a rough week in the city of Toronto. I know I don't live directly in the city, but in the GT area for us, I guess we'll call it supporters of the Blue Jays because, bro, what the hell's going on in Rogers Center right now? You know, they were a game and a half up going into this massive series, 4 games against Texas. Bro, we're not saying you need 4, but you need at least 1, maybe 2. Keep pace. Bro, they got swept. And not only did they get swept, they got their ass kicked to them the entire time. What the hell happened to the Jays, man?
Yeah, so first of all, Rogers Center is a prison. So basically, just want to throw that out there as my thoughts. Dude, what happened? I'm not sure. So you look at the Jays, right? Of course, they're trying to clinch a playoff spot, keep themselves in that conversation, and they still are. Yes, they got swept in 4 by the Rangers, but they're still in the hunt. They go into that series after playing a couple of series against the bottom of the barrel in the majors. You have the Rockies in there. You have the Oakland A's in there. Yep. You have the Royals in there and somebody else that I'm blanking on, but it's okay. Regardless, they're playing the worst teams in baseball, and they went 9 out of 12. That's not bad. You know, of course you
take that. Series win.
For Jays fans, of course, yeah. For Jays fans, though, of course, you're hoping, they're hoping that they're going to sweep every series. It's easier said than done. I still think a 75% winning percentage isn't too bad.
Yep.
But then the real test is now you're playing a playoff team. You're playing a team who at one point in this season, not too long ago, were in first in the American League West. They've been doing well in the Texas Rangers, who are staying afloat and they're doing actually pretty solid considering how many injuries they've had. Of course, Max Scherzer's now out. I know you were feeling that one in fantasy, which I know hurts, but we're playing. Actually, we're playing each other in fantasy this week.
Yeah, playoffs.
Exactly. Now, I going to the College of Sports Media. Shout out to CSM.
Hey.
One of my professors there, one of your former professors, did teach us that when you're talking about fantasy sports, nobody cares about your fantasy team, and it's actually so true because we could talk about our fantasy teams right now.
Bro, I could sit here and whine about the injuries of my fantasy team. But truthfully, at this point, I don't even give a shit. So
yeah, exactly. We got football here, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is obviously we're just it's a friendly competition between us here in the quarterfinals. We just want to let people know to get to know us a little bit better. We do play fantasy baseball. We do love it.
Yeah.
But the Rangers, I mean, they are suffering with those injuries right now. With Scherzer's gone, DeGrom's been out, Josh Young's been out. It's tough, man, but they're doing well.
Yeah.
And the real test for Toronto here was, okay, you beat all these non-playoff teams. Great. You did a good job in those series. Fantastic. You're staying in the hunt. But what's going to happen now when you're playing against an actual legitimate good team in the Texas Rangers, a team who you are battling with for a playoff spot right now in the early stages of September? We're pretty much in the middle of September right now. And, dude, they just, plug your ears here, but they shit the bed. It was bad. Really bad. Earmuffs. It was very bad. And honestly, dude, I don't have an answer for you. This team is just... I said in our last episode, I called it. These guys are not making the playoffs. They don't have the drive.
I'm gonna put some people on blast here and cook for a little bit because
Let
them cook. It was the most frustrating 4 nights of my life because, not like I said, they didn't just lose, bro. They got their ass kicked. And I don't know, we want to start with the hitting, the pitch. This is what we're going to do. the hitting has been troublesome all year, right? Like they've had a couple of big games, but let's be honest, compared to where they were and where the expectations were going into the season, it hasn't been there, right? The big names aren't doing the job. Vladdy's got like 21 home runs now after tonight. Like it's just things aren't working out for them. The pitching has carried them for most of the year, bullpen and starters. Yep. As you get towards this part of the season, it's common practice. The pitchers are tired, man. Like they throw a lot of innings, a lot of pitches. The stats are gonna come back to earth a little bit. That's when you need your hitters to pick you up. And they're doing the opposite, bro. And I don't understand. Like, the most frustrating part, the loss sucks. The 4 losses suck. The playoff implications suck even more. But what actually like grinds my gears and makes me fill up with rage is the fact that these guys look like they don't give a shit. Bro, they're not running out. Like, I hate to be that old man, run out the ground balls and this and that, whatever. But bro, like you have to show some fire and some compete. And like
you do.
You see it in of course all the call ups, right? Davis Schneider. You see it in the homie Ernie Clement.
There you go. You got it. Sorry, bro, I just want to say, last episode you said Davis Sanchez.
Bro, you know
I didn't want to call you out.
Football season's back. He's on the team.
Hey, shout out to Andrew for getting the name right, man. There you go. Bro,
in my defense, football season's back. He's always on like the little, because you know the Thursday night, Monday night's always on TSN. Davis Sanchez, former football player himself, is always on doing little preview bets. So that's
right.
So I'm out to lunch, but yes, Davis. As I was saying, let them cook again. Davis Schneider, Ernie Clement, all these guys, like they give a shit, man, because these guys are playing for their lives. But it's just,
of course,
the most frustrating part is like they don't look like they care. They lost the games, and what grinds my gears to a whole nother level, I don't know how higher I can get, is the lack of accountability on this. Almost dropped an F-bomb on this dang team, bro. Like, how many times can the Jays get their ass kicked in the series or lose a big important game? Or some stupid thing happens and they lose, and it's okay for the manager, John Schneider, or whoever to be like, yeah, it was tough, but, you know, we're on till tomorrow. Like, that's not good enough anymore, bro. If this shit's happening in June, if this is happening in May, yeah, on tomorrow. But you can't just sit here and say, oh, it's going to be the Red Sox tomorrow, we're going to be okay. Like, that's not good enough. And honestly, accountability is what we need, bro. Put your players on blast.
Hell yeah, man.
Listen,
get fired up.
Like, I understand Bo's just come back from injury, but like he had a shitty performance that game. Maybe don't put him up. But Vladdy, again, his underlying numbers have been okay in the month of August. The Jays were like top 5 at hitting, run, and scoring position, but it doesn't look like himself. Put his ass on blast. Again, I'm a huge Vladdy fan. I got a jersey. I got bobbleheads right there. There he is. Bro, put these guys on blast. And on top of that, this is what boggles my mind the most, bro. Change the lineup up. Like, what are we doing playing a game of musical chairs with 6, 7, 8, 9, bro? Like, George Springer was like 0 for 35. They moved his ass down. Deservedly so. Yep. Witt went up there. Witt was on fire. George, you know, obviously wasn't 0 for 35 forever. Came back. Witt back down to earth, and they swapped him back. Why is Vladdy constantly in the 3-hole? Why is Bo why would he just do something different, bro? You just lost 10-0. You lost 6-4. Like, change it up. But I'm going to let you speak, Mike, because I need some water.
Yeah, just, you know, take your time, man. You know, go for a walk, take a lap. Listen, man, I don't know. Like, there are no positives from that situation. They lost 4 straight, which is bad. But, yeah, to your point, it's not even the fact that they lost 4 straight. It's the fact that they got I almost dropped an F-bomb too. They got mucked in that 4 straight. I mean, the last 2 games, I have it just looking down here on my phone. 10-0. 9-2, bro. 19-2. Quick maths. That's
maths.
bad.
Shut up, Big Shaq.
Exactly. Big up, Big Shaq. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. How do you look at that and just say, well, get the next one? No. You got to get that one, man. And again, if you're losing close games or something like that, obviously you can look at it as, they battled to the end. It was just disappointing, or maybe there was just like a little error or something, or the umps through the game. You know, as a classic one, right? No. They got pumped. It was bad. You don't want to get pumped, especially now. Like the Jays did.
And it's so frustrating too, because like they came into the season, expectations on how you play on paper, all that, blah 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 blah. But the big expectation was you got rid of Lourdes, you got rid of Teoscar, you brought in Dalton Varsho, like. The whole culture was supposed to change, and it looked like it did change for the worse. It went from, there was reports that were coming out in the offseason saying there were some maturity issues and junk like that in the clubhouse. But you went from having a ball club that was having fun to a ball club that just doesn't look like they care. And again, we don't know. We're not in the clubhouse. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But what could you change with this team, right? Like, Shapiro's not going anywhere. Like, let's be honest. Like, he got Rodgers to spend money the last couple of years. They're doing the renovations. He's whatever. Ross Atkins has done some good work. You know, people question his work. He's done some good things. But where do you draw the line? I think, I'm sorry to say, Guillermo Martinez, Dave Hodges, hitting coaches are going to be gone. I think that's a given. Someone's got to be the scapegoat. Point. Yeah, someone's got to be the scapegoat. But what do you do with Schneider, right? Like, it's just a weird situation where if Atkins gets rid of Schneider, he's on his third manager already. And, like, how many chances do you get? And let's be honest, man. Like, John Schneider seems like the most likable guy in the world. But he has made some disgusting decisions that have cost the Jays some wins. What are we doing, bro? Jordan Hicks was like the best bullpen arm on the market. You get him. He pitches 1 inning during that series. And like I think it was 6-0 blowout at the time. And then on the flip side, the next day where the game was still 4-2 in a close game, why bring in Hicks when you can bring in Trevor Richards, God love him, who's been off since he came back from injury? Like, what are these decisions, man?
It just seems like, I don't know. It's like he's
frustrating
making,
as hell. I'm getting red.
It would be very frustrating. I don't blame you. It is very frustrating, you know, and it almost seems like decisions are being made intentionally to, like, wreck this team. Like, it almost seems, obviously, it's, when it comes to just anything in life, it's usually, you know, easier said than done. Like, oh, you just do this and this will happen. Like, it's no guarantee, of course. Definitely. Like, they could have put Jordan Hicks in more often, and it, you know, we might assume, oh, it would have gone better, but it's, you know, it could have gone pretty poorly. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
But you got to go with what the best option is, and it feels like a lot of the times he doesn't make those adjustments to make the best choices. It just kind of feels like he's almost resting on some old habits, and old habits die. Well, I don't know, but I literally forgot the expression.
Old habits die hard.
Hard. It was hard.
Yeah,
they do. Thank
Excuse me.
Right. But they do, right? And that's stuff that you have to. But as a manager, you got to be able to make those adjustments. If things aren't working, you have to be honest with yourself and just realize, this isn't happening. You got to move on in terms of getting the next guy in, or okay, this is the option we usually go to in this situation. Now we got to switch it up. It's not working, and that's okay. That's fine. But act like you give a shit. And
that's it.
You know, I'm not gonna say that Schneider doesn't. But some of the things that happen, and as you described, kind of make it feel that way. And then the players are also kind of showing that as well. And that is not a culture that's going to win. This whole report, I don't know if you saw it, came out today just to date this episode. It is Friday, September 15th.
Yep.
A report came out today from a local news coverage station in San Diego about the Padres team, about their whole team atmosphere, and it's just bad. Like, it's just the vibes are low. Yeah. And there's no motivation, and it was basically like these guys don't believe in themselves, and they don't really give a shit. Well, look how bad the Padres were, man. That's a team that came into this season kind of like the Jays, probably more than the Jays, came into 2023 with genuine World Series aspirations, and well, look at them now, right? You have to have a group that is going to want to work together and work towards that common goal, and if that isn't happening, even if you have all the talent in the world, if you're not on the same page and the motivation isn't there, that shit's not going to work. And you see that so clearly with this Toronto squad. A squad, again, there's some time left, but there's really not a whole lot of time left. I'm sticking by my guns. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, man. I don't like it. And if they do, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, you know? That's the crazy part. Is like, if they do, is it even gonna, like, why? What's the point? Right?
Exactly.
But here's the crazy part: is like, I still feel like they can, and I'm not saying I think they will. I think they can, and that's strictly just because of how the schedule lines out, right? Like, after that ass kicking by Texas, they're a game and a half out of the playoffs. They hold a tiebreaker over Houston, but pretty much nobody else that's relevant. Mm-hmm. So they got They got Boston, Tampa, New York, Tampa. Like, they got just AL East the rest of the way.
Yes.
But you look on the other side. Houston has a series against Baltimore coming up. Tough team. Seattle has a series against, right now, actually, against the Dodgers. Obviously a tough team. Mm-hmm. Seattle and Texas still play each other, I think, 7 times now in the end of the season, right? And, like, that's the... Like, you know, right now the Jays have put themselves in a position where not only do they need to win, but they need to scoreboard watch. And the best way to scoreboard watch is when two teams are kicking the shit out of each other. The potential
It's
is
true.
there. Will they do it? I don't know. What's like I said, how many tomorrows are there, right? Like what's
true,
what's
dude.
gonna wake them up?
It's true, because like what, if something isn't working, like you were saying, if something isn't working early in the season, okay, well, you have time to make adjustments, but what real adjustments are you going to make that are significant enough in the final 2 weeks of the season when you are fighting for your lives to extend your season past October?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or into October, I should say. And yes, I know the final day of the regular season is October 1st. Don't at me. I understand, okay? I get it.
Calendar's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's strange, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But
you're
same rules
100%
apply.
right. You're 100% right. There's nothing you can do fundamentally right now. You could, whatever bullshit is going on, whether it's in the clubhouse, on the field, whatever their strategy, if they even have a strategy. Because let's be honest, bro. Sometimes it looks like 9 guys are coming up to the plate, and they're not. There's no strategy. Like it looks like some of these guys like. Again, I hate to put Vladdy on blast because as much of as you call it a disappointing season for him, he still has some good numbers. But sometimes it looks like they're playing to the pitcher's strengths and not their own strengths. Like, I think John Schneider was talking about why Vladdy last night missed a couple like middle in 94, 95 mile an hour fastballs because he throws 60% sliders to right-hander. Bro, who gives a shit, bro? You're Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You got that wagon. Swing the shit at the fastball when it's there. Don't sit on it. Like, what are you sitting on a slider for? Because 60% of the time, like, I don't know, man. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's strange, and like I think to be fair, I think you have every right. I mean, we're not. This isn't the We Hate Vlad Guerrero Jr.
No, I absolutely
podcast,
love
but
Vlad. Like I said, I have
he's the best.
right behind me. That's my guy.
Placata, whatever, right? So I don't know, but anyways. The thing is he's the star of this team, and they have a lot of really good players, and he's not doing his part. Bo Bichette, he's probably been their best player offensively. Yeah. I would, right. Just a couple other guys are, underperforming. You mentioned Springer had a very bad streak. He's kind of starting to figure it out a little bit now. I was, you look at the offseason, I was very intrigued by the Dalton Varsho trade you mentioned earlier. It was weird seeing Gurriel leave Toronto, just, of course, being here. You get used to seeing him around for sure. And Gabriel Moreno is he's a pretty solid prospect, one of the better prospects in the Jays organization at the time. But you bring Varsho in, he has that versatility. He can play catcher. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he's just a solid bat. He gets on base. But this year, he's just been not great. So you have struggles in areas that you cannot really afford to. Of course, the pitching kind of held it down for the most part. I know this whole Alek Manoah situation is very strange. We're not going to dive into that. But you still have a good support system around it. You still have a good group around it. And Kevin Gausman has looked very good this year. He's streaky at times, but overall very, very good. And that rotation was decent for the most part, and the bullpen did its thing, and obviously that was a big area of concern for the Jays for the last couple of years. But they had a lot of good things going, and it just wasn't enough. It hasn't been enough, because here we are, and I think heading into this season, like as I mentioned before, I think people did peg the Jays as a team that were definitely destined for the playoffs, if not further. And now we're at a point where reality has set in, and with just 2 weeks to go until the end of the regular season, the Jays are in a position where they are on the outside looking in, and you just don't have any confidence that this team is going to do anything worthwhile in the playoffs. And that's not to say don't try to make it, but those games are going to be disappointing.
Yeah, so if you said at the beginning of the year the Jays were fighting for their playoff lives, not even in the AL East, but fighting for the wildcard lives, where Boston and the Yankees were underneath them, bro, you'd be crazy, right? They were favorites coming into the season, favorites for the AL East, and they're fighting for their lives now. And they, like you said, offseason was different. They got rid of Teo, the homie Teo, gone. Bullpen help improved. Rotation, questionable, but into the season has been amazing. And they also got Dalton Varsho, who's been at times amazing and at times super streaky. Getting him from the Diamondbacks, they gave away Lourdes and, of course, Moreno, who's a top prospect. And they're fighting for their lives, too, just on the west side here. What do you think about the NL wildcard race?
Yeah, no, that's a great segue, by the way. No, that is good. It's true, though, man. That has been a very... the AL race was fun for a little bit there, but now it's starting to sort of dissipate, and less teams are kind of in the hunt right now. But the National League is still firing on all cylinders. So many teams in contention as I look on my phone to see exactly which teams and where they are. But there are still a number of teams on the outside looking in. I mean, that whole situation can change in an instant, and that's why it's so interesting to keep an eye on these teams, because you just have no idea where everyone's going to be when it's all said and done. Phillies in there. Cubsies are in there. Giants are in there. But then you mentioned the Diamondbacks. No, wait, they're actually... Like, they're not even really a game back. They're outside, but not really.
Yeah.
And the Reds are in there. We got the Marlins in there. A lot of fun teams, man.
It's tight.
A lot of fun teams. It's tight. So it is a situation to keep an eye on for sure, in a very general way of looking at it. But no, it has been interesting, and this is what it's all about, right? Like, these races are what make it really exciting. Like, you know, I know in sports, people can just say, oh, the regular season doesn't matter. It's kind of true. Like, obviously, it really matters when it gets to the postseason, but you have to get there. And it's starting to, like, we're really starting to get to that point. But not everything is set in stone. Like we mentioned, there's only one team that's clinched a playoff spot, the Braves, who are doing absolutely amazing right now. But the race to the playoffs is fun. It's not so fun in May, because who cares? But we're in the middle of September right now. And so many teams still competing. So, hey, Jays, look at the National League. It's not as taxing right now. So maybe use that as motivation, possibly. But these teams are all competing for a spot in that postseason. You have 6 teams vying for 3 spots, and it is very fun.
You mentioned May, bro. Go back to May. Pittsburgh Pirates were first place in the NL West, in a division that contained not only the Dodgers, but the San Diego Padres. I'm blanking on their team. They spent so much money, I can't remember them. Here's a good question for you. You had mentioned we got the Phillies, the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, the Reds, the Giants, and of course the Marlins. 6 teams there. You put aside the current division leaders, the Dodgers. Nobody's catching them. Braves have already clinched. I know the Brewers have a little bit. I think they got 4.5 on the Cubs right now.
Yeah, 4.5.
Well, we'll push them to the side. So of all those 6 teams, which team, as an opposition or an opposing team, would you not want to face?
Well, out of those, that's interesting. You know, it's funny. The Cubs are intriguing to me. I mean, I don't think a lot of people had high expectations. Actually, I'm gonna guess nobody had any expectations for the Cubs this year. They kind of had a spot where they brought in some guys, and of course, you know, Cody Bellinger goes there. You don't know what he's gonna be, and Dansby Swanson's there now, and they just have it was basically, it felt like Chicago, the Cubbies, were an organization where guys were gonna be, and were likely going to be traded to contenders in the summer. But instead of selling, and you know, those names like Marcus Stroman and co were out there, right? Yeah. And were being talked about. But now they continued to just push through, and they even added Heimer? I don't want to butcher names. Candelario.
There you go. You got it.
Candelario. I don't know if I got the first name right. I apologize. But you know, they brought him in, and they just added because they were like, yeah, screw it, let's go for it, right? Yeah. So they're still on the hunt. They're a pesky team, man. I kind of like what they've been doing. They're 5-5, 5-5 in the last 10 right now. I don't think that's a team you can sleep on. I'm not suggesting they're going to do anything in the postseason, but I think if you're a team like the Braves or the Dodgers, Brewers not to really the same extent, but you're one of those teams, and you're maybe, we got an easy first round matchup, or you know, whatever. I don't know, man. Those Cubs, that's a stingy team. They're solid at the plate. The pitching's been pretty good. I know that's like the most general thing to say about a baseball team, and it really looks like I know nothing about the team in detail, but it's kind of true. They've just been a pretty solid baseball team this year, and not a team that you want to mess with. So I'm gonna go with the Cubs.
You know what? That's a good pick. I mean, like you said, like approaching the deadline, they were the top sellers, right? Cody Bellinger's gonna go, Stroh's gonna go, and they just happened to win like 7 in a row, and they're like, hold on, are we cooking right now? Like, what should we do?
Are we getting Verlander? Like, I don't know if they were in contention for him, but Ohtani's coming here.
No, and that's a good pick because, like I said, they got hot at the right time, and Bellinger's looking like an MVP again. They've got Justin Steele, who's, let's be honest, he's maybe a top 2 Cy Young candidate right now.
He's got to be, man. I think he's got to win,
bro. He's elite.
I think he should.
I agree, and they got good hitters around the plate, but Stroman's interesting too because he had such a good start to the year where he was in the Cy Young competition, had some injuries after the All-Star break, and he just got activated today.
Yes, he did.
the reinforcements are on the way, and they got Wicks, of course. They're one of their top prospects. They called up Armstrong again. Like, bro, they're doing a lot of work here.
Hey, Pete Crow Armstrong's he's been fun to watch, man.
Oh my God!
I don't know if you saw. He had some nice catches in the outfield, man.
Yeah,
he is
absolutely.
a great prospect for that team. So yeah, definitely. The future. It's not only is the future bright. The future is now, but not only is the future bright in Chicago, but the present it could be. And I think. I wouldn't sleep on the Cubbies, man.
I think that's a great pick. I was actually going to pick the Cubs, but in the
okay, well,
but and I'm not gonna be boring here. So I do have a second pick. I'm gonna low-key shoot on the Cincinnati Reds here, and the reason I'm doing that is because they've been so up and down all year, and obviously a lot more up than I guess expectations were heading into the season with the talent that they have and how like every 2 weeks they're bringing up another top like. Here's a good question. How many prospects can be the top prospect until they're no longer the top, bro? Every 2 weeks was top prospect this, top prospect that. Like, but I'm shooting on the Reds because of that roller coaster ride. Like, if they come to the playoffs and they're at the right point of that roller coaster, like, you don't want to play them, bro. Again, so many young players and rookies on that team. But when they get hot, they're unbeatable, man. They got speed in the field. Excellent defense, power in those bats, and strikeout arms in the bullpen.
And they got a Canadian legend.
And they have Joey Votto, who is quite possibly one of the funniest ball players out there. Like,
he's awesome.
So I don't know, man. I think the Cubs I definitely agree on, and I was gonna say the Phillies. I got no comment on the Phillies. I don't like the Phillies that much in terms of their chances, but that's besides the point.
Sure.
I think the Reds, bro. I think the Reds are gonna be a tough team if they sneak in. And bro, who knows? Like. It could be the Marlins who could get in there. Like, it could be the Diamondbacks, who also I don't think are like, none of these teams are pushovers. Let's be honest here. Like,
no.
Playoffs are playoffs for a reason, man. Like,
and it makes just for a fun last couple of weeks, because if everything was set in stone, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, fine, fair. Or I don't know, like, there is that cynical part of me that is like, it doesn't really matter who makes it, because I still think like the Houston Astros might win the World Series, as much as I don't want to see that. Not because I dislike the Astros.
Yeah.
Not confirming nor denying that. I'm just saying I like to see.
Sound like a garbage can.
I am not incriminating. I did not do anything wrong. I just simply like to watch new teams win. So I like to see the Diamondbacks, who a few years ago lost 100 games. That's not good. That's very not good right now.
Very not good.
And the Cubs, expectations were low, but they're doing well right now. The Reds, it's like, yeah, they're kind of in that rebuild. They have all these top prospects. Yeah, they have the top prospect in baseball, and keep continuing to call the top prospect of baseball up, even though it is different people.
Even though, like, how long is the top? Like, what is the top of the top? You know,
it's true. And the Marlins are a fun team. Of course, you got just that. You know, I didn't really mean to go into intangibles there, but you know, that's a fun team to watch. Yeah. Only going to get better. It's been good for the sport. It's fun to watch.
Blood,
it's making
like you said.
It's making it intriguing, you know, and you never know. And it's funny because we picked the Cubs and the Reds respectively. I'm not going to suggest the Brewers are going to falter in the next couple weeks, but either of those two teams, the Cubs more likely, just given the standings right now, but like they could take over the division title. You never know, man. Right? So
that's the beauty at the end of the season, man. It's great. They cram division play down your throat, and it's never been so important, and it's never been more fun. We just talked about that with the Jays and the AL West, and like you said, bro, the Cubs, the Brewers, like, it's going to be a wild finish, man.
I like it. It will be a wild finish for the wild card race, you know? So.
Yes, we are now a comedy podcast. Welcome back.
We are. Yes, we very much, that's what we do. That's what we do. That's what we do now. We're not a baseball podcast. Man.
So here's a question, though. We had talked about last podcast. We had talked about the greatest baseball memory. Now we need to shoot on something else here, just to wrap this thing up.
Sure.
Where would you like to see a playoff game most? And I'm going to limit you to the teams that are currently fighting for a playoff spot, because I think you and I have talked about this, and we both talked about Kauffman Stadium being a great place to go watch a game. Maybe PNC Park in Pittsburgh, but let's be honest, bro, playoffs look good for Pittsburgh for a little bit, but not this year, probably not next year. Let's be honest, not the year after. So, AL or NL, I'll give you any choice here. Where would you like to go see a playoff game the most?
Okay, so out of the teams in contention, so I mean, you really can't beat. Like, I still kind of have to look here, but you can't beat Wrigley. I mean, that would be amazing. You know, just the history of that ballpark, and you and I have talked about wanting to visit different ballparks. Of course, last summer we saw Citi Field, and that was the best experience for a baseball game I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Especially considering, as mentioned before, for anybody who's not aware, Rogers Center in Toronto is a prison. So it's not actually a prison, just to clarify, it's not actually a prison, but it feels like one.
Yeah, and when you have, we'll cut them some slack. They're renovating it now, year after year, to make it.
That's true.
To make it less prison-like and more ballpark-like, but now and for the last ever years, it's a little prison-like.
Kind of, I'm trying to stay out of prison. It's not where we want to be. So
like the Jays are having some good teams. We're not trying to feel like we're in prison watching prison shit.
Right. We're not. I was gonna make a really bad joke there. Anyways, it's not a nice ballpark, really. I'm gonna be honest. Citi Field, that's where it's at. But you talk about historic, traditional ballparks and just having that real atmosphere, and of course the history. Wrigley Field, I don't think you could beat that, man. So when the Cubs are good, and they just won not too long ago, like within the last 10 years, of course. Yeah. Shout out to Back to the Future, but that would have been such an electric place to be,
for sure.
Where you have this team with so much history, this field and this stadium with so much history to it, and of course just such a diehard fan base in one of the most noteworthy and historical cities in not just America. Well, we'll keep it in America, but in Chicago, it's the Windy City, man. It's where champions are made. They had a basketball team there that did pretty well, apparently. So
yeah, it was that guy's name, Michael. Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen.
That's the guy who did. But I think I'd have to go with Chicago, man. Just the whole atmosphere that would come on game day would just be. I think it'd be second to none. So I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Wrigley Field with the Chicago Cubs.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good pick because I've had the pleasure of actually going to Wrigley Field. We didn't get to see a game there when we went, but we get to do the stadium tour, and I felt like that was one of the stadiums, or I guess we're gonna keep calling them stadiums, but like the ballparks. That I felt like when I walked around it, there was so much history and so much
Yeah.
I felt like nostalgic, even though I'd never been there before. And you know what it feels like? Like Field of Dreams, like when all the ghosts, all those guys are coming from the cornfields and that orchestra music's playing. I just felt like that music was in my ear the whole time playing there. So getting that thing filled with 30,000-40,000 crazy Cubs fans and watching playoff ball would be a top tier experience for sure.
And you know what? You're right next to you're hanging out with Bill Murray in the stands or something like that, just having a good time.
I want to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" with Bill Murray. Are you kidding? That sounds awesome.
Guy's a legend. Zombieland, right? That's what he's best known for. Crazy.
Oh my God! I shot Bill Murray. Shout out Woody Harrelson on that one.
Woody Harrelson's the best, man.
Yeah,
but I like that pick, man. Yeah, I mean, this was a very we showed a lot of love to the Cubs in this episode here, but it's rightfully so. And you know what? I genuinely do think I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, but I think it would be very good for baseball to see the Cubs back in the postseason. So I'm kind of pulling for them right now, man. I do hope that while we're not going to be at any postseason games for them this year, I do hope that people do get to attend that. So I'm pulling for the Cubbies, man.
That's a good pick. My pick, I'm gonna go with Tropicana. I'm kidding, bro. I'm kidding. Come on. I'm poking fun because Rogers Center might be a prison, but it's not Tropicana Field.
No, it's true, and it's not Oakland.
It's not Oakland. Again, I've never been there, but that gives me every right to shit on because this is our podcast and we'll say whatever.
It is, and you know what? If you don't like it, well, I mean, listen, we want you to listen.
Yeah, if you don't like it, continue to listen. But no, here's what I think, right? Because I think two things go into this decision, and you hit the nail on the head for both. Where you want to talk about the atmosphere and what comes with a game day, and the ballpark itself, right? And you hit Wrigley, amazing looking ballpark, which has had some great atmosphere in the past. And my first thought was Giants, right? Because that ballpark looks amazing, the little lake out in right field. But I just don't feel like the atmosphere is on the same level or would be on the same level with other teams. So I have a really boring answer, but I'm going to give it anyway because, I'm going to go Dodger Stadium. And this is my reasoning behind that. Yeah, Dodger Stadium, so boring, nothing special. But, bro, they've been in the playoffs every single year for forever, and they've had good winning successful playoff runs, not always ending in a World Series, but, they did have a couple. And I feel like the atmosphere is always top level. Man, you watch Clayton Kershaw get to the mound, and, bro, people up high are freaking out. And I just feel like that'd be such a good place to watch because they've been so spoiled with so many successes and riches and shit like that. I just feel like being part of that atmosphere until they have a bad year and like the Yankees are currently doing and everyone just hates the team. I don't think that's going to happen with the Dodgers, but I still think that would be a top tier place to watch some ball.
I mean, I can't dispute that whatsoever, man. That's a great answer. I don't think it's boring at all. It has a ton of history, and yeah, just the lore that is the Los Angeles Dodgers and just how good they've been, as you've mentioned. You can't. I mean, again, I picked Wrigley Field, but it's kind of not an easy thing to achieve, to set that tone and to set that environment for your fans, and it just seems like it would be an amazing time. So no, I don't think that's a boring answer at all. I like that, man. I like that. I would love to go to Dodger Stadium and watch the Dodgers do their thing. Watch Mookie play. Come on.
Freddie Freeman, one of the goats, maybe the Canadian goat. I mean, he's not technically Canadian, but his mom is, and he reps Canada, and that's good enough for me.
Exactly. We love the Canadians. Okay, we mentioned Joey Votto. We got Freddie, doubles machine.
Machine, bro. And the most talkative first baseman out there.
It's true. And I mean, we mentioned the Dodgers. I know I brought up the Astros earlier. I'm still enjoying the race to the playoffs for sure, 100%. It's been very exciting, and it's fun to keep an eye on every game, every night, and see what's happening, see the movement, see the trends, see the clinching scenarios, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what worries me, and again, I hate to sound cynical, but what worries me is I really want to see these new teams in the postseason, but I need to see them do things, and I'm worried that they're not going to do those things because I do not. I'm sorry to the fans of these two particular franchises. I really do not want to watch a Houston Astros and Los Angeles Dodgers World Series. I will honestly
won't watch it.
I don't. It's not. We've already seen it. Don't want to see it now again. I want to. I like to see new teams, at least in the dance. And that's what makes the sport fun. When you have some parity. And
absolutely,
it's tough, man, but it does come down to experience, and maybe this is the start of the experience factor for some of these franchises who are kind of getting back into the swing of things.
Yep.
But I don't know, man.
And
I don't know.
You can't buy experience, right? You earn that shit. And as much as we like to people hate on Houston and the Dodgers are so boring and blah 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 blah, bro, they have the experience because they've earned the experience, and maybe they buy it. Again, you can't buy the experience. You can use garbage cans for the experience, but that's a whole other point. But, whoa! Who said that? But you had just mentioned. We'll just do this one more thing here before we wrap up. You had mentioned an Astros Dodgers World Series would be on the boring side of potential matchups. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another segment of Hot Takes.
Oh my gosh.
Mike, I want you on the spot right now. Give me your World Series prediction. I want your AL winner, your NL winner, and then who is going to win it all. You're on the clock. And I will give my pick as well. But everybody loves Hot Takes. That was again, we haven't come up with a new name yet, but we will. But people like the clip, so here we go. Hot Takes.
I can't do this with you, man. I hate you.
We love it. We love it. I know who you want. Throw the names up there. I might be able to guess your hot takes, but let's see what you got.
I'm stalling because I'm trying to read my phone to see the standings and see who's
I'll go
in
first. I'll go first. All
right, say it. So yeah, you dish it. You got to be able to take it. Go ahead.
100%, bro. Astros not going to be good enough this year. Dodgers not going to be good enough this year. They have too many holes on their team, too many injuries. Boring answer. The Atlanta Braves are winning the NL. I'm sorry, but nobody is better than them. They have good. They have good. They are good everywhere. Nobody's beating them. They have good. They have good. On the AL side, it's a little bit interesting, but I honestly, this is crazy, but I think Tampa is going to win the AL.
Ooh.
I just feel like there's so many question marks in the AL right now, and I feel like there's again experience. You can't buy experience. Tampa could get out first round. Who knows, right? That's the best part of Hot Takes is you can roast us afterwards. But I really feel like Tampa all year, between injuries, off the field issues, playing at Tropicana Field, they've just had so much shit thrown out their way, and let's be honest, man, they've proven everybody wrong. Again, they're not an AL East top. They could still contend for the AL East. Let's be honest, it's not over yet. But I just feel like they've gone through so much adversity that nothing is going to faze them. And I feel like they're not only are they coached the right way, but they play ball the right way, where they have one gear and that gear is go. So I'm going Atlanta and Tampa in the World Series. And I think, again, super boring, but I think Atlanta is going to win it all.
Wow. I like it. I like the call, and it's funny because I think you had mentioned this in the last episode. Tampa had decent expectations this year, and then they had so many injuries and other off-field issues.
Yep.
And it's kind of like, all right, well, like, when are they going to falter? You know, like, you're just waiting for it. It just hasn't happened, and it doesn't seem like it's going to anytime soon, man.
It doesn't make sense how they could still be so damn good.
Dude.
Like, bro, you look at their roster, and they have decent players, but, like, you think about if you took their roster and you compared it to a roster of everyone who was hurt, bro, like, their pitching staff alone, bro, it would be like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense why they're so good, but they are. And I think the Atlanta Braves is a bit of a cop-out answer because they're the best team in baseball, but I don't give a shit. That's maybe like a medium heat take. But I'm going Atlanta over Tampa as my hot take World Series.
Hey, you know what? You know what? First of all, you have nothing to apologize for. You can pick whoever you want. Doesn't matter who you pick. You pick somebody.
Apologize to absolutely nobody.
Exactly. But the thing too is, you know what? I'm going to give you credit because you're putting your picks out there to the public. People will maybe watch that clip and be like, "Oh, dude, you're an idiot," or "Ha ha, you got it wrong." No, listen, Andrew, I'm going to give you. I hit the mic. I'm going to give you credit. You putting your picks out there for the public to see and for you to be absolutely ridiculed with potentially.
Yeah,
that's admirable because you know what? All those people who are saying to you, "Haha, you're dumb," or "You're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about." Where are your picks, huh? Where are your picks? You're probably going to pick them. You're going to say, "Oh, the Atlanta Braves are going to win the World Series after they win the World Series."
And
I said the Braves from the start.
We see that people like to post their picks after
all the
events
time,
happen.
dude. It's not good.
Say, look, we had a great
what are we
night.
doing?
We had another great night. So
yeah,
all right, Mike.
Great, yeah.
Let's see them. No more stalling.
Yeah, let's see them.
Let's see them.
Come on. Put your money where your mouth is and stop talking all this shit. So
that's it.
No, you have nothing to apologize for, man. Actually, I respect you more now.
Respect. All right.
Than I did from before. And yes, I did use this tangent a little bit to stall.
I knew it. That's okay.
Answers.
That's okay. You're on the clock now.
But I did mean every word of it. So I'm gonna say, I'll start with the American League. I was looking at who's in the fight, and to be honest, a lot of these teams do not intrigue me whatsoever.
Absolutely.
I don't think.
I felt the same way.
I think. Well, let's see if we can match up here. I think you look at the Houston Orioles, the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
Very exciting team. Smashing expectations. Super young. I don't think this is the year where we see them march their way to the World Series. I think this is going to be a good year for the team, however far they go, to get some experience and use that to move forward. And then take what you've done this year and say, okay, now we know that we can get here. So what do we have to do to make ourselves a playoff team? I'm not suggesting they're not built for the playoffs. I'm just saying what changes are going to be made to ensure that when you get to the playoffs, you're actually doing some damage. Do you bring some veterans in? Do you... I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kind of your only option. Or do you run it back and you're like, okay, well, our guys got experience. You change things, pitching or coaching staff or whatever. I don't know, right? Anything, right? I just don't think this is the year for the Orioles. The Twins, I mean... Like, they've barely been a 500 team all year. You know, I know they're 7 games over right now, but, like, yeah, it's not good. The Rangers are, they're in the dance. I mean, I'm not going to say that they're not going to do it, but maybe that lack of star power, not that they don't have star power, don't get me wrong. Of course, Corey Seager's crushing it, but those names that they've lost, maybe that's going to come to bite them at the worst of times when they really need those guys.
Yeah.
Mariners, Jays, Red Sox, Yankees. Cleveland is like, I don't even know. So I'm going to stick with the Astros. That's a very boring answer as well. I think, it's a safe answer because of just how good they've been. Of course, defending champions.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you look at how the offseason went for them and just how last season into this season went. Jeremy Pena, for example, looked at as an unsung hero for the Astros after absolutely crushing it last postseason. He's been pretty bad.
Yeah.
But they've still had those guys who have stepped up and done such a good job. Altuve's been solid. Jordan Alvarez has been solid. Kyle Tucker, that guy's good, dude. That guy's really good.
Oh, yeah.
And now the pitching's been decent for the most part. But Verlander's back. He's only gone for like half a season. Now he's there again. They're running it back with the same crew. And yeah, these guys are maybe getting a little older, but they've proven that they can win. So I'm kind of going off of that experience factor. Yeah, they're maybe not the sexiest team right now.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have to be. They're a team that they're going to be a sexy team, let's just say, when it really matters. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Houston in the American League.
Okay.
But we go to the National League. I can't pick the Braves. You already picked the Braves. So I'm going to go. Let's go off the board. I want to get roasted up in here. Okay? Oh. Going with the Cubs.
Oh.
The Chicago Cubs are making a march.
Nice.
They're marching through October. Great game mode in MLB The Show, by the way. Absolutely. But they're doing it. They're going to do it. I like this team. You know why they're going to do it? Because no one's picking them.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks the Cubs are going to do anything this year. Hell, they might even miss the playoffs. They can miss the playoffs, and you can come here and say, Mike, you're an idiot. And that's fine. But I stand by it. No one's picking the Cubbies.
Why not? And the Cubs.
Why not? Why not? Everyone's picking the Atlanta Braves. You pick the Braves. That's not a bad pick. But what happens with these teams, the teams that do so well in the regular season, the teams that win all that kind of stuff, they don't do it when it counts. Sometimes they do. And I'm not saying the Braves aren't going to do it this year. But actually, kind of, yes, I am, because I'm going with the Cubbies.
And who's your winner?
I'm going to go with the Astros, though. Houston's going to win. I think Houston's going to win. But that's not to take anything away from Chicago. I think they're going to do it. What is that based off of? Just a hunch. Just a gut feeling. This is not my gut, but a gut feeling. I got it. I'm feeling it. Nobody picks them, man.
I like it, man. So I'm taking Braves over the Rays. You're taking the Astros over the Cubbies. Very Cubs-central episode today. I like it.
Yes, we do like the Cubbies. We do. I mean, I don't have any particular fondness for them necessarily, but yeah,
we like what they're putting down this year.
I like what they're doing, man. I gotta give credit where it's due.
Yeah,
I gotta do it.
Hey, and if you like what we're putting down, you can check us out everywhere. First Overall Media, Instagram, Twitter. The transitions are on fire today. TikTok. FirstOverall.com. You know where to find us. Twitch. Mike hopped on Twitch. Did a little stream.
I did do a stream the other day. That was very fun. We played some Super Mega Baseball 4.
Nice.
Still working out some kinks. It's been a while since I myself have streamed, so still doing that. Did make an insane play in the outfield. So unfortunately, the replay for that stream was not saved, and that's due to my error. So apologies for that. But I did have a blast, so stay tuned.
Many more to come. So yeah, stay tuned. First Overall Media anywhere. You'll check us out. You'll see what we're posting, where we're posting it, when we're posting it. That being said, we're out of here. GG's. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the First Overall Podcast.